the 28th of April with Ronnie Long.
Second attempt. No, there was four bacon factories in Limerick at one stage, and particularly in the end of the 1800s and into the 1900s. And as far as I know, the oldest bacon factory is Matterson's, and they came from Cumberland into Limerick. The date that's generally used is they came in 1812, but somewhere or other I have recently seen a reference to 1810.
Okay.
But it's only 2 years, and there's no one around going to tell us anything. No, then Denny's came in, and another stage. Then you had Shaw's. Now, but the Matterson home was in beyond Kilmurry. It's the present IDA office.
Okay.
Or Shannon Development Office, sorry, the present Shannon Development Office. It was in a very bad state structurally, and Kevin Culhane used to tell me some great stories about cattle scratching their backsides off the Adam fireplaces. But in fairness to Shannon Development, they took it over and they've redone it. It's a fabulous office, and it's a credit to them. And the Masterson family are buried in Kilmurry graveyard. As you enter towards the church, on your very left-hand side as you go in the gate, there's a grave which needs a lot of tidying and doing up at this stage. But the Matterson name is on the side of it. And then down in the very left-hand corner of the old graveyard, because the new one is behind it, is the Matterson grave as well, with the headstone, with all four sides recording deaths and people who are buried there.
Very good.
Now, it has been kept up to date. All the Matterson family are now dead, and they did also live in Black Abbey in Rathkeil, and one of the Matterson daughters was Langford. She married Langford, and Eric McNamara, the horse trainer, is now living in that home.
Okay.
Then go to Denny's. Denny's, I can't find where Denny's lived, if they ever lived in Limerick.
Okay.
Now, I know they started their first bacon factory in Tralee, and they did go to Wexford and Waterford, but I think Tralee happened to be their base.
Okay.
And then the other one was Shaw's, and Shaw's were they lived at the big house at the end of Ballinacurra. It used to be known as the bus turn. No, that's where if you're coming in from the hospital and the shopping centre, where the road divides into a V. The big house in on the left there, it has been Thompson's Architects in the last 30 years.
Okay.
But Eric Shaw and his brother, I just can't remember the second brother's name, but knowing I was coming in to see you, I made calls last night, and I'd say I'll have the answer to that.
Thank you.
Because I was aware that he was master of the Limerick Harriers for long number of years.
Okay.
And I can remember him going to church in St. Michael's, and Eric was his brother, who was a light man. The other man was heavy. But they were involved in the social life of Limerick in a big way.
Okay.
Then the other bacon factory is O'Mara's, and the O'Mara family are very well known for their extensive bacon factories throughout Ireland. Their home was where the present Strand Hotel is.
Okay.
That was their home. And Michael, the last, he's alive and he's in his 80s, and I think possibly I'll want to go with you to go and talk to Michael. He's still working. He went working for a friend of his out in the road out to Catmore, the big industrial estate outside beyond Anacotti. He went out for a couple of weeks, 10 or 15 years, and he's still there.
He's still doing it.
No, his wife is the manager of Limerick Show now. And
Limerick
Show.
Limerick Show.
And they live out at Lighthouse, just beyond Lighthouse Cross, beyond Patrick's Well.
Oh, yeah.
I can make the contact. Michael and myself are very friendly.
I have his name, but I haven't contacted
No,
him yet.
he's kind of a shy man.
Is he?
Yeah, but we'll get him.
Okay. Brilliant.
No, that's then the other Denny's that was the fourth O'Mara's. No, I better tell you the factories O'Mara's had. They had a factory in Limerick.
Yeah.
They had a factory in Claremorris.
Yeah.
Factory in Letterkenny.
Yeah.
And Matterson's also at one stage had a factory in Waterford, and to my knowledge I think O'Mara's had as well.
Okay.
And Denny's had a factory in Waterford as well for the southeast corner, and that is the history. The war year, Matterson's then in the early 1900s, or just around the time of the First World War, they went into canning, and there was the can brawn.
Oh, yeah.
And actually we had a can of Matterson's which was open somewhere around 1960 and it was still edible. And there's photographs of all that are available.
Okay. Do you know who has them?
No, in the last few weeks the leader had some fabulous photographs last few weeks.
I must look that up.
Oh, gee, could you, because they're in colour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I thought that you had initiated it.
No.
So now the people I think we want to get sitting around the table from the Matterson point of view is Tom O'Connor.
I bet Tom. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I think the best way of doing this is we sit. I get on with them all.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
And I was Tom's boss, and I promoted Tom up to a position helping me. So like we get on great.
Great.
But Peggy Carey. Now, Peggy's brother, who died in 1983, has a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Or his wife has. But I don't know how I get it. But the way I think is invite her to an overall meeting.
Okay.
Yes, we'll do. We'll get to that at a later stage. Now, as I say, the residents, you know, where three of the families came out of. Mm-hmm. Oh, the biggest one of O'Mara's, I nearly left out the biggest one. They owned Donnelly's, the great, which was in Dublin in the Coombe. Mm-hmm. And funny enough, Matterson's had a depot in the Coombe, 121, 122, 123, the Coombe. And when Sugar Company bought us in 1966, it was the first bit of Matterson property they sold.
Okay.
But all that particular part of the Coombe now is all rebuilt.
Okay.
It's near St. Patrick's Cathedral. And it's about 150 metres max, I'd say, from the St. Patrick's Cathedral. I can remember that as a depot. And a cousin of mine, Bobby Smith, was the last manager there. But he got transferred to Sugar Company after Aaron Foods then, like I did myself.
Okay.
So I got the job of launching a van sales fleet. I was taken away from the selling Aaron Foods products. Okay. And that was the end of up to the time we closed. We closed. We should never have closed. There was just a wrong union official put in charge of it.
Which is this now? What should not close? Matterson should not close.
But then, after the war, Shaw's sold the Clover Meats, which was a farmers' group from Waterford who had bought. I don't know. They had built a factory. I don't know what factory they actually took over in Waterford. That's one. Mickey O'Mara know that.
Okay.
Mickey O'Mara, because Mickey's 4 years. Mickey's 84 or 5.
Okay.
But he's fresh as a daisy.
Is he?
No, the O'Maras, the singers, the opera singers, and all these, they're all at that family.
Okay.
Yeah. So
like the tenor.
And there was in the sporting side. Then Matterson's, one of them played for Ireland hockey.
Okay.
Prior to 1900, and he went to live in Canada, and we found stuff on him. And then it was ironic that Stan DeLacy, who was born in Barrington Street. I have all the details, and I haven't it here. I have it here.
You're very organised, Ronnie.
I'm not. I throw everything into this book. If I lost that phone
sure,
book,
these have things together in it.
There's about 5,000 phone numbers in that book.
Oh my God.
Barbara Hartigan.
You mentioned Barbara.
She's his daughter.
On the phone.
Yeah, I can give you all the info number.
Okay.
But they go back then, the bacon trade, obviously that time, even in Limerick City and in all the towns, every farmer had pigs. That's how they really lived. And they all, in the farming community, they all killed a pig or 2 pigs a year, which became maybe one of the main sources of food. In the city even here, that you had families going around collecting all the swill and doing that.
Where did they collect? Where did they go in?
They used to go around the streets and collect it and feed the pigs, and the pigs would end up in one of the factories.
Very good.
Now, the big killing numbers came in month of August, September, and the reason for that was the amount of milk available after the cows all calving in the springtime.
Okay.
There was milk available to feed pigs, you see. And that time, when I joined Marston's in 1949, when I was only 14 years of age, and I'd be one of the last not to go to secondary school.
Okay.
Because my brother, who died last week, he was 6.5 years younger than me, and he went to secondary school.
Okay.
That was the start. There was no one going to secondary school up to 51.
Okay.
Except very few. But then the Madisons then decided in the early 20s to go into they were doing canned meats like brawn, and which is another name for brawn is collared head.
Oh yeah.
Collared head. Brawn stroke collared head. So they started canning, and funny enough, they decided to go canning peas and beans.
It's clever though.
And they started to grow fresh garden peas. And the early years they were grown on the south side of Limerick, out towards Killonan, all that area.
Out Kilronan.
Killonan, on the way out to Carrickanish side. But quickly they saw that the soil in Clare was better.
Right.
And we were getting better response out of the farms in Clare. Some farmers would grow 3-4 acres, 6 acres, 10 acres. But going back to the cannery, they were importing, of course, peas and dry peas and beans from abroad. But the amazing thing, there was a photograph, and if we could find it, it might be able to be found in Limerick later. There was a photograph of Sean Lamass, who was appointed when Fianna Fáil got into power the first time. Sean Lamass was made Minister of Industry and Commerce. And there's a photograph of Sean Lamass opening the Madison cannery.
Okay.
Now, where that is, I don't know. I've seen it.
I might have a copy of that.
Oh, right.
It would have came from. I think I've seen it, but I'll double check.
That'd be a fabulous photograph.
Because so many people.
No, the cannery then developed in a big way during the war years, the Second World War, and then there was a lot of other things happened in that time. The social scene of Limerick changed. All the factories, they were unbelievable. They kept people working and they had nothing to do for them. Really. There was a kind of but the wages were very low, because I'll come to that in a while. But they started, all the Madisons then they started, and the labelling which was in this photograph on the leader as all the products, and the labels which were started in 1927 made, they were still the same labels when I came in. And when I started selling products out on the road as a rep, I was selling the same label.
Okay.
But then the labels changed to modern labels. But it's some of that product might be around here and there.
Okay.
At one stage, Madisons were employing over 550 people, and that's in 1959 and 58 and 59. They killed beef, which was the only time I think in their career they ever killed cattle, and that was done on as you go down Roche Street, and the top was on the right hand side behind it where there's buildings now.
Okay.
The whole yard behind it is all covered in buildings now.
Okay.
With that yard, but. Then the pig bar, Limerick was noted for pig bars, and they were nearly all related. There was the Reeds, which is Paddy Reed, the great rugby player, that family. You had the Quaids, which were, Mickey Quaid, all his land is nearly where the hospital is now, and Garryowen Rugby Club and all that. And the nursing home at the corner in Ballykeefe.
Okay.
That was Mickey's home.
Okay.
Then there was Crows. The Crows of 6 Mile Bridge, the President's Shop, and Tim Crow, the very good athlete, and he's Timmy Crow, the great. They were all related. There was the Healy's, the big house as you go over the humpback of the Wire Bridge down on the right. That was the Healy family.
Okay.
And he was a very famous rugby player, an oarsman.
Okay.
I say I'm leaving out somebody now. It might come back to me.
Okay.
So this is where a group will fill those gaps.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't rush this at all. I don't know if you have a deadline.
We do.
It
has to be done for this year now.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be rushing it, because I find it's funny when I was involved a lot with doing some of the sports stuff for CBS book. And just the more time you're at it, the more time stuff comes. And you bump into people accidentally.
Yeah.
No, the Madison, the homes, the home there, they contributed very big. They were involved in Chamber of Commerce. And as far as I know, amazing thing, I can't find, I don't know, maybe they did, and it's something that we'll have to kind of look up. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much the Shaws took part. In the previous generation, Eric and the brother, but obviously there was 2 or 3 generations. What they did, I think they were all fairly involved. No, St. Michael's Church of Ireland Church, unfortunately the man that would have helped us died a couple of weeks ago. Okay. Trevor Morrow died. If Trevor was around, we'd have it out. We can see maybe get some of their stuff over St. Michael's.
Okay.
That will be, because there were, as far as I know the Shaws went there, because I remember going to church there when they were there, and they were involved. But the Matsons I know went outside, because it's all there. I'll bring you out and show you that.
Okay.
Because I think unless you see it, you want to really, and I'll show you the house as well.
That's a good idea, Ronnie. Thank you.
So I have to go to Dave Mahedy to collect stuff. So I'm getting all the stuff from John Flanagan up to GA thing in Croke Park.
Okay.
And I have to keep the families happy as well.
Okay. Very good.
I know they're great. The families are great.
Yeah. You're busy, man.
I know, it's just not. I've always been that way. So I work 20 hours a day.
God, okay, for pay to you.
Or 16 hours a day anyway. Yeah.
Okay. Ronnie, maybe if you tell me some of the social side, like the sports.
No, we haven't touched on that. No. The war years, the Second World War, were very important. They all joined the LDF, which was the local defence force. And they started up all over the country. I don't know what they're going to do, because all they had was nearly shovels and brushes, no guns and all that. What they were going to defend, I don't know. But they're there. But out of that grew a camaraderie between all the firms. Not alone bacon factories, milling, bakeries, clothing particularly. Because Limerick Clothing Factory supplied all the army uniforms into the American Civil War. Both sides. Yeah. They supplied it. That's how Tate came here.
Yeah.
And Tate's clock and all that. That's another major story. The clothing industry is a major. We were leaders. Yeah. And we were employing thousands of people. Limerick Lace then became another major area. And some of those would have been interlinked. But going back to the World War II, they formed all these social groups, and the LDF, and they used to march and help and play. But out of that formed, they started playing in badminton. They all set up social clubs, and they all started playing badminton. All working class people who wouldn't even know what a badminton racket was. Yeah. They all started. And they produced some superb players.
Really?
Yep. played with a lot of them. And
where did they play, Ronnie? Is there
well,
clubs
they
or?
used the Mechanics Institute.
Oh yeah.
Was one of the halls. There was a club called Optimus who played in the army barracks. Limerick Clothing Factory had their own hall above. It's just about to be demolished.
Where is this?
Next door to the red old Garda barracks in Edward Street. When you drive up, you would drive up by Bobby Burns, up Wilfron Street.
Yeah.
It's facing you.
Oh.
It's a wreck building at the moment.
Yeah.
But that was a fabulous. That was a fabulous hall.
Okay.
They were clothing factory. But then you see, Dan started up as a kind of a breakaway from Limerick Clothing.
Okay.
And they were working at the corner of Ellen's. All their staff worked overhead Ormson's shop.
Okay.
Up there, that was Dan's. Then they went to they went alongside Mattison's above in Dominic Street. They bought some of our land, Mattison land, and built their new clothing factory there.
Okay.
And that was there up to 20 years ago. Actually, I called Pat Casserly, whose wife died 2 weeks after my brother last week. Pat Casserly, he'd be able to tell you the whole history of Dennis.
Okay.
No, some of the Dan O'Donovans are alive yet. So I think they should. Well, out of this came. One of the things that came out of the war years was there's an inter-firm soccer tournament taking place all the time, and that grew out of the camaraderie set up. They played hockey matches as well.
Okay.
And soccer, and that time Limerick had about 6 or 7 hockey clubs.
Okay.
Men's hockey clubs, and women. There was only Kathleen Stewart and LPYMA were the only 2 women's clubs. LPYMA, Limerick Protestant Young Men's Association.
Okay.
LPYMA. The house of that is above, next to the Ulster Bank, 97 McConnell Street. It's still there. The hall is being used as a church now by one of the people coming in, colour people.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of those halls all being used as churches.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was mainly men's.
No, the pitch, the LPYMA pitch was bought by the corporation, and it's line out. They don't do justice to it anyway.
Okay.
That's in the Ennis Road, next behind the maternity.
And that was all for soccer.
No, that was a hockey pitch.
Hockey pitch.
And tennis courts.
Hockey.
Oh, and bowling greens for the elderly. No. When I was on all that, I used to keep saying, why don't we introduce bowling again? Because it's a easy sport and people can play it.
Yeah.
Like if you go to Wales and go down and go to England and you walk around some of the cities and towns at night, they're all bowling.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely, easy
sport. Yeah.
And they can play it up to their 90s.
Yeah.
They're hardly able to bend down, but they can still
roll the ball.
but you kind of see there's too many people in team sport.
Okay.
But that's another hobby of mine.
Okay.
But no, the out of that grew like the Limerick the inter-firm soccer, which is still running. That emerged out of that in 1940s.
Inter-firm.
Limerick inter-firm. How it has changed and adapted to the changes which took place in the intervening time.
Okay.
But it's basically that was the kernel.
So this was played by the 4 bacon factories?
No, all the factories.
All the factories, everything.
Although the bacon, 1908 there was a major bacon burger. That's a separate bit now.
Okay.
1908 there was a major bacon strike. I forget what the reason for it. I think it was over wages.
Okay.
I don't know, but Denny's never opened again.
Didn't it?
No, there was 3.
Okay.
Shaw's, Madison's and O'Mara's stayed. But Denny's was, when you go up to the lights at above
near the Horse and Hound.
Near the Horse and Hound, you have the corner shop. What is it?
Browsers.
Browsers. Next door to Browsers Well, there's all new buildings on it now.
Yeah.
And then Roach's Mill was there as well, next door.
Roach's Mill, was that for feed?
Yeah, they wanted us out, and they moved from there
Into
20
town?
years. No, they're out near the dog track.
Oh.
Yeah, and when you were going home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they moved out there about 20, 25 years ago. And Jim Roach is alive yet,
Okay.
and he's in his 90s.
Okay. You don't know when Denny's opened, do you?
No, I don't. See that
It's hard to get information.
No, it closed
on Denny's.
1908.
Yeah.
I'd say personally myself, I'd say I think it opened in the 30s,
1830
or 1840s. I have no. Tralee might be able to help you on that.
Yeah.
See, see, who owns Tralee? Who owns Denny's?
Kerry Co-op.
Kerry Co-op owned it.
I rang them and
Don't-
no good there.
There's no one there. I said no. No, if the big man we have to get in is Mickey.
Okay.
He was very reluctant when I rang him the last time. I wanted him to come to that meeting and he wouldn't come. We may have to go out the house to
That's
the two.
okay. If he's happy with that, I'll go out.
Yeah, I'd have to go with you because
Okay.
no, he'll accept me.
Yeah.
Funny enough,
Which is good.
then we were opposition.
But still, it was
We were never opposition.
Oh, you were never. Oh, I thought you meant a separate factory.
No, we were separate factories.
Yeah.
We were all his friends.
Yeah.
But I had that's my belief. I never had a bad debt when I was on the road as a rep.
Okay.
And because they had us, we had to pay 7.5% of bad debts ourselves. And I have one bad debt in my life, and I had a row with him. I said, don't put me on that list because that man will pay me.
Okay.
And it might take 10 years, but he'll pay me. And he
So
did.
when you say bad debt, Ronnie, what do you mean? Is
No,
it-
like people that wouldn't pay their bills.
Okay.
And you couldn't collect maybe £2,000 or something. And I had a debt, and it was only for, I think, about 100 and something. I felt I was that and right. And I said, that man will not go to his grave unless he's that paid.
Okay.
I knew the man.
Yeah.
I knew the man was so honest.
Okay.
And he eventually paid me, and I literally made sure they gave me back my I was £7.76 they had taken off me.
Taken off and
I made sure I got it back. It was a point of principle with me.
Yeah.
But basically, I think at that time, I don't know what, if you can get the Pork Butchers Society minutes, now, unfortunately, Tommy Joyce is dead, and unfortunately, Frank Pendergast is dead.
Yeah.
Because Frank always maintained Marston's would never have closed if himself and Tony Nolan were the union officials in our strike.
And why is that? Really?
Because the fellow that came in, he's a bloody waster. And he's been trying to get a Fianna Fáil nomination since, which is 30 years.
Yeah.
And he wangled. I went to the launch of the book in CBS, and I walk in and I see a man with a chain of officer on his arm, his neck. I said, what are you wearing there? Oh, I'm the president of the past Bureau. He fucking knew there'd be publicity the year they launched the book, and he got himself made president of the past Bureau. A total waster.
Yeah.
And he, no, we keep those guys out of it because they're needs right down.
We'll go back to
No,
this.
well, the biggest thing is if we've got to, I think first thing we'll go try and meet Mickey O'Mara.
Yeah.
And then we'll try and get,
Peggy.
no, Tony Burke, who worked in O'Mara's. No, hold on, I'll tell you a minute. Tony Burke, who worked in O'Mara's, took major umbrage to what you wrote in Colin that last meeting the night we were down there.
Right.
And I didn't deliberately show it to you. He wrote me a letter about it, and I showed it to our historian man, nice man.
Kieran.
No, the man that's
Matthew Potter.
Yeah, Matt Potter. I showed it to Matt Potter. Matt says, "Keep that in your pocket."
Right. So what is it? What is?
You know, you see, some of the butchers said that they were blackguarded. They weren't blackguarded. The butchers were the greatest crowd. They're knackers that ever walked 2 feet. and someone like Stan de Lacy was able for him because he'd plumb awesome.
Yeah.
And he'd lead. But O'Mara's closed kind of abruptly, and the butchers, you see, they had a closed shop thing. Only sons of butchers could get a job. And then they had to relax that a bit, that it could be first cousins of butchers.
Right.
And then it relaxed again as it went along over the years. But they were unbelievably difficult. And but this fellow Tom Joyce was able from. And it's funny, he was also involved in his Pike Rover Soccer Club, and he was an outstanding guy. Now, unfortunately, he died about 7-8 years ago.
Okay.
But this other fella, Joyce, funny enough, Joyce is the other, he was a relation of him. But Tommy Joyce, now this has nothing to do with this.
Okay.
I'll tell you that story when that's off.
Will I pause it?
Knock it off a minute, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I can do about it. Stan de Lacy was born 1914, and I can give you the actual. I have the actual date of birth, which I'll give you, and I have it, and his date of death, and I have an obituary notice which appeared in the Sunday Independent.
Okay.
Which written by his son-in-law.
Okay, so his daughter then is Barbara.
Barbara,
And
the
Barbara
only
had-
daughter.
Yeah.
And
she
they lived in the North Circle Road for years.
Yeah.
And then he moved. He was married to one of the Holidays of Boyd's,
Right.
and he actually became a director of Boyd's as well as being the director of Matheson's.
Okay.
And he moved to Castlecommon, and Barbara lives next door to him in Castlecommon.
Right.
And his grandson built a house on the other side of him.
Yeah.
And actually 3 weeks before he died at the age of 91, he cut the grass in all 3 gardens.
Isn't that lovely?
And he's right on more.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
lovely.
He was good up to the end.
That's very good.
No, he was an international hockey player. He was manager of the only equivalent of the Lions ever to leave the British Isles,
Okay.
which went to Kenya, South Africa, and the other African countries in 1952. And he was he was captain. And 3 weeks into the trip, the manager got ill, and he took over the role as manager as well as captain. And Noel O'Dwyer was on that trip with him at 19 years of age.
Right.
And Noel is still alive. He's the son of Major O'Dwyer, the famous short jumper.
Noel O'Dwyer.
Yeah, son of Major Jed O'Dwyer, who rode the great famous horse Limerick Lace.
Right.
In the 30s, won every competition in the show jumping world. And for some unknown reason, they weren't into I can never find why, for the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin.
Okay.
Maybe that some of the army connections knew too much what was about to happen in Germany.
Okay.
With Hitler, so I don't know if that's the
If
story.
that's the reason, or
I made a statement one day, Michael Noonan pulled me that I was wrong. I was told that I made some statement of something I was speaking at, and Michael Noonan was there, and he said, Ronnie, you're not accurate.
right.
So I said, tell me why, and he said, I'm time now, but we never got around since.
Right, okay.
Sometime I'll talk to Michael.
Okay.
Michael is a gang guy.
We'll come back just for the sports again. So, do you know if women, was it just badminton they played, Ronnie? Or?
Badminton, oh yeah, and there was another major area, drama.
Okay.
They all produce plays every year.
So when
All
you
the
say
factory-
all, you mean each factory,
All
not
the
just
fa-
the
yeah,
bacon
no,
ones?
the bacon factories
bacon
definitely,
factory.
and the clothing.
Bacon
Funny
and
enough,
clothing.
the bacon and the clothing factories worked, and of course milling ranks.
Right.
And then you had Harris's as well at that time.
Okay.
No, that would be Dickie Harris's family.
Right. And
They-
what's
they
the
were-
Harris family do?
They were milling too.
Milling.
No, do you know the Presbyterian church above? The red church.
Yeah.
The rest of that block was Harris's.
Okay.
From the church up to the
Okay.
corner was Harris's.
Okay.
Yeah, and you had Thomond Laundry across the road,
Oh,
where all the other new buildings that Linden Inson is running now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there was drama for men and women.
Yeah, oh yeah, and there was some of them became quite good actors and good. There was a most unbelievable talent, singing talent.
Singing. Okay. That was at O'Mara's. as
No,
well.
all of them, all the factories, they had butchers and everyone. They could they sing.
Okay.
No, John Hanley, Michael Hanley.
Yeah.
Michael Hanley's father worked at. I used to bring Michael up and down to Galway.
Okay.
So I got Michael into the band in Galway.
Okay.
Yeah. He was on the radio the morning, and I was waiting. I was on eating my breakfast. Otherwise, I'd have got into the car and gone into meeting.
Yeah.
But see, I used to bring Michael D up and down as well.
Okay.
The president.
Yeah.
He was living here, see. And I used to give him a lift to Galway. And then another one, some of the lads out in Ballycurry, I met him the other day. God, Ronnie said, all the days, all the lifts you give me up and down.
It's mad, isn't
And he even said to me, he said, Michael D used to be with us, sure. And actually, Michael D I was at a function, Michael D was there as president. And next thing he did that to me. Okay. And I went over and he said, I was just telling the boys here all the trips you gave me up and down the road.
It's mad.
Yeah.
Ronnie, where would they put on a show then for people? Or?
They used to do that in various halls.
Okay.
Actually, one of the halls they used to use was the Good Shepherd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I can remember it. I've taken part in small walk-on parts.
Okay.
It doesn't make, they wouldn't even know it. You might come in down and say, here's a telegram, sir.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, that was all. But
Can you remember the names of any of the shows? None of the shows.
Peggy might know.
That's Peggy. I'll ask her.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't understand. Tom amazes me.
Okay.
Just because Tom is the man that is going to get us a lot of stuff back.
Right.
The photographs from. He has told Tom that he'll give them back.
Okay.
But they're.
Oh yeah, I wrote that down, didn't I?
Yeah, they're full. Let's see any here, little.
What is it?
See the back of the chairs over the thing.
Yeah.
They're more, but half as big again. The photographs.
The photographs?
Yeah.
Okay, and Tom has those.
No.
No, he gave them to someone.
The guy that's making this mashed and sausages up in Monaghan has them.
Yeah, he mentioned something about that.
But it might be a sitting in the car job.
Yeah, I'm going up and getting them.
But I better talk to Tom because I. No, the one I want to get in is Mary Mullins, Mary Carey.
Right, Peggy.
Peggy's sister.
Mary. So Mary Carey.
But I have leave that to me because
Right.
that's touchy.
Okay.
I know they have stuff. They might say they haven't.
Right. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
you might touch base with me again on that.
Yeah, There was a time when myself and Peggy didn't get on, and she's fallen over me in the last 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
How bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, she used to give out about me that I was never working for Marston's, I was working for athletics.
Okay.
And I was out in the country more often. I was in it. I'd go off with teams abroad.
Very good.
Sure, I did 8 majors altogether. I did 55 manager jobs.
55.
And I only 2 were at home. The rest of them were abroad.
Oh, yeah.
So I did the first World Indoors in Indianapolis. So I took 4 athletes. And I remember Jimmy McGee ringed me up 2 months before and he said, "Ronnie, you're team manager for the Indianapolis." "I am, yeah." "How do you think we'll do?" I said, "I think we'll have 4 or 5 athletes." "How many medals?" 4. "Are you mad?" "No," I said, "I'm not gone mad." I said, "I think we'll get a gold and silver in 2 events."
Okay.
He said, "Do you know what you're saying?" I said, "I do know what I'm saying."
You were sure?
And the guys were, like in Frank O'Mara was among. So I said, he said, "Thanks." And he said, "RT won't send me." And it was only that night I discovered that he wasn't a staff man. Okay. He was an employee. He was on a contract, a yearly contract, or 5 yearly contracts. And I always thought that he was a staff. He was only paid for what he did on contract. And I never knew that. All the years I knew him. And we still talk. Yeah. And he rings me, and if I have a doubt, and he'll ring me if he's checking something. "Ronnie, how do you think of this?" "And did so-and-so do this or so-and-so do that?"
Okay.
That's great. We're very friendly. And so I was in Indianapolis, and Marcus won the 1500. And then Eamon was the first heat. He won the first heat. Second heat came, and Eamon got knocked. And he got back up. There was 3 laps to go, and there were only 200 meters a lap, so 600 meters to go. And he got back up, and he rushed it a bit getting back in. I was saying, slow down, edge in.
And what was this for, Ronnie?
The world at 1500 metres.
Okay.
Indoor, first world indoor championships ever held.
Okay.
We've a great record in Ireland for the first.
For sports?
Yeah, the first of everything held, we've always won.
Okay.
And I'm about the only one that realises it, I think. There's one or two more do as
We'll
well.
have to do your book on it, really.
Yeah, but I know something off my head. Like I was at 2 or 3 weeks ago there one morning, someone rang in. I was on air and someone put a thing up on the screen. Asked Ronnie, is Eamon Coughlin still hold the world record, and there's supposed to be other Irish fellas waiting. I knew immediately what it was. It was the 1 mile record set in UCD in 1986. I was there in July 86. So I was in, I called it all out. And the lines lit up. There was, how the hell did Ronnie know that out of his head?
You're big into your sport.
No, but I know I can roll out I can roll out rugby and GA, everything. Yeah.
Good. Ronnie, what did everyone do at the weekends or in the evenings after they left the bacon factories?
Well, oh yeah, hold on now, very important part. I went out on the road as a rep in 1961, in November 61. And one of the pluses of going out on the road in 61 was I was getting a 5-day week. We were working 5.5 days up to April 5th, all the factories. The supply to all, they were all the same. The 5-day week only came in April 62.
Okay.
So I lost, well, I thought it was a plus. I lost it. Everyone had a 5-day. The wages were so small.
Were they?
When I went, I can tell you what the wages. The gross wage of a grade A butcher in November 61 was £7.76.
Right.
A grade B butcher was 7.06, and others 6.15 and 6. And there was 12 shillings only of a difference between a grade A butcher and being a fella pushing pigs up and down the lane, maybe. And the grade A butcher hardly talked to the fella that was earning 6.15 and 6 because he wasn't skilled.
Okay.
Jesus, no, but you can't say that.
No.
But that was the wages in 61.
Okay, November 61.
And there was one family called the 20 O'Briens, and Glenn's shop opposite the mental hospital above. Opposite the mental hospital, above the jail.
Yeah.
The house next door to Glenn's shop on the south side, as you're going up the street, there was 20 O'Brien's bread in that house.
Okay.
And the butchers drank.
Were they butchers O'Brien's, were they?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But they were known as the 20 O'Brien's.
Okay.
Every one of those did one better than the other in life.
Okay.
They held some fabulous jobs.
Very good.
No, the oldest guy was a bit handicapped.
Right.
And he only died about 2 years ago, I'd say, because I missed him off the street and I inquired where was he gone, and he said, oh, he died. Okay. But he must have been around the 70. But I can remember, legally you couldn't hand the wages to the wife.
Yeah.
You had to hand them to the butcher. I don't know how can we use this, but drink was a major problem with him.
Right.
And the wives would be outside the door because they didn't get the drink, they'd have no money to buy food.
Right. Where did everyone go drinking?
Where should they went to? See, all the top of Rocha Street that time, there was a big pub above in the corner called O'Byrne's, and there was O'Byrne's mineral waters. They were a very good mineral water. But they're all open spaces now.
Right.
I think I'll have to take a walk with you someday.
Okay.
And I think it might be good we sat in the car and drove a few places because to get the feel. Yeah. Now, the Woodfield house next door to Ryan's outside, that was one of the Matheson homes as well.
Okay.
We had one of the daughters of a Matheson married a fella called McKay, MCKAY. Funny enough, it was always pronounced McCoy.
Okay.
And it was spelt McKay. And he was always known as McCoy. You know, he was the manager of the cannery when I joined Matheson's. And what I'm about to tell you now, that's off, is it?
No, I'll put back off. Well,
No, put them on. Of course, there was another thing. All the factories exported bacon, and they all had their own clients, mainly UK.
mainly UK, okay.
Yeah, and there would have been maybe a bit to Scotland and Wales, all right, you know. But I think I can recall in the early 50s being in London and walking down the Thames south of London Bridge and seeing Marston name on the back of a building.
Amazing.
Now, I went down the river on a boat about 6-7 years ago, and I was obviously looking for it.
Yeah.
But all the buildings are replaced. They're all with modern high-rise buildings. I was looking maybe but the name in the 50s was there, and so there was a good lot of there was a lot of people with a lot of talent. As I think I mentioned earlier, they were all able to take part in plays and singing, and quality of singing was unbelievably high. And like the Hanley family, which Mick Hanley and of course his brother, who was headed up the news team in RT for many years, they were all. His father worked in Masson's, and we were very, very close, the two of us. And it's great to see. There was a lot of people who did very well, and
Ronnie, what were they singing? What kind of songs?
they were opera, a lot of it, mostly
Opera. Oh,
yeah.
that's interesting. Okay.
There wouldn't be Kamali stuff. But you see, if you look at the standard associated with Shannon Rugby Club, the standard they're singing when they win matches.
Right.
You'd hear it nowhere else.
Okay.
And they produce some of the greatest singers out.
And did you all go to like choir or what?
A lot of them, they were members of choir.
And this was outside work hours then?
Yeah, outside work hours. And we had a very famous organist in Marston's, Frank Brislin. He was the organist of Mary's Cathedral for years. But he also had a women's choir.
Yeah.
A women's choir, which he won at the Dublin, the Dublin, what's the famous awards in Dublin every year. They used to enter competitions around the country.
Okay, very good.
And there were women. And then you had, of course, later on they were followed by the McCormick choir.
Okay.
But Frank Brislin's choir would have been the
main one.
The original one.
Yeah.
And of course, as time went on, Frank died, and the McCormick choir took over then. Well, and it's a tradition, a great tradition. And all the rugby clubs all had some very good club songs, club numbers. Roses, red, Robert goes bob, bobbin, and
what is this, red?
Robert goes bob, bobbin. Of course, the oil was the Shannon one. Gary Owen had the Boys in Blue.
Gary Owen.
I mightn't be totally correct in that title.
That's okay. What was the other one you said?
The red goes bob,
yeah.
That was Bohemians.
Bohemian.
Yeah. And then some of the soccer teams had them as well.
Okay, that's good. And was there any singing in the work in the factories, or?
Well, that's how the last one were found. When I was mentioning earlier about concerts and plays.
Yeah.
They'd
be singing on the factory line.
They'd be very proud of what they were able to produce.
Very good.
And it was a great way of keeping people together.
Okay.
There was a very happy, even though times were, as you can gather from what I said about the wages, people. They all helped each other.
Which is lovely.
It was it's a different thing now. I can see the last 10, 15 years of it. And you got to remember there was no dole that time.
Yeah.
The first dole was introduced, if my memory serves me right, was 52.
Is it?
And it was 7 and 6 a week.
Okay.
And it was then I think there was a massive increase the second year. They got 3p of a rise.
Okay.
Went from 7 and 6 to 7 and 9. If my memory, that was 52 and 53, if my memory serves me right.
Okay.
That's all over my head now.
Okay, very good. Ronnie, do you remember anyone in the city that used to rear pigs out the back of their house?
Oh, there wouldn't be hardly a house.
Without it?
No, not in the city centre.
Right.
But once you got beyond the canal, or beyond the river here,
yeah,
where the site of the present corporation offices.
Yeah.
From that all down, nearly all the houses had the pigs in the back.
So St Mary's.
The whole down Island Field, all out Tongate everywhere.
And they all had pigs.
The older houses, no, not the newer ones.
Okay.
The ones that would have been built from the 50s on, I'd say, discontinued that practice. But they used to collect, as I mentioned earlier on, they used to collect all the, I used the correct word earlier on, it don't come to me now.
No, you're okay.
They used to collect all the
swill?
The swill.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for.
And feed the pigs on that.
Tend-
And, oh yeah, Ronnie, sorry. It's
No,
20 past
you're
1.
right.
You okay for a few minutes?
No, I was doing something else.
Will I pause this?
No,
for a second?
you're right. I'm on it. Go ahead.
You okay?
Yeah.
I was going to ask something there. Oh yeah, and all the pigs, they would have come from the city centre or outside
Well,
the
they'd
county?
you see, they'd know who had sows,
Yeah,
and they'd buy the piglets off them.
okay.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the pigs would come from?
Yeah, well, that was only, no, every farmer had pigs.
Yeah,
Every farm. And the pigs coming into Matson's and into Shaw's and into O'Mara's would have been coming from North Cork, West Limerick, and all South Tip, up to North Tip, and then into Clare. All the pigs would be coming in Clare. And there'd be pig fairs.
yeah,
And the pig buyers would attend the pig fairs early morning, about 6, 7 o'clock.
yeah.
And then they'd have their own lorries, and they'd bring the pigs back into Marston's. And another feature which lasted until the early 60s was the pigs would come by train,
Yeah,
and they'd land above it it's still known as the Madison Bank, up as you go on the train to go to Limerick Junction.
So they
But
come by train?
near the walls of Burnside Lawrence Graveyard.
Yeah.
There's a place up there still known today as Madison's Bank.
Madison's Bank.
Yeah, the bank for loading, bank and a
Okay.
bank for unloading and loading. They pull in the hunt. There's to hunt the pigs down and up Parnell Street, up Davis Street, around the corner and into the piggery,
Very good.
into the sties. Hunt
Okay.
them. The pigs will be run off.
Then there's like two people
There was photographs appeared recently.
in the paper.
There were leader found of the pigs being hunted along the street.
Yeah, we're looking for more of them.
I don't know, see who they.
Who would have that? And was it just these young lads that were hunting them, or was it factory
No,
workers?
there was pig drovers.
Pig drovers. Okay.
There was drovers. But there was the Limerick leader, they're doing that old photographs, and they found one of the,
Yeah.
a lot of pigs being driven down the street.
Very good. Okay, pig drovers. And was that a good
There's
wage?
huh?
Was that a good wage, Roddy? Was it a good wage for that job?
I don't know what they got.
You don't know?
No, I wouldn't have a clue what they
And
got.
these weren't just pig drovers for the factory.
No,
were
they'd be employed by the pig buyers.
employed by pig buyers. Okay.
Yeah, there was so many, and a lot of the pig buyers all intermarried. They were all related. Yeah.
No, okay. Write that down. I had something else actually a minute ago. Do you remember anything of the unions, Ronnie? Any of the issues there?
The Poor Purchase Society
Yep.
well controlled them. They paid. There was a.
They paid a fee.
They paid a fee. It was low, but in relation to the wages, it had to be low.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 shillings a week.
Right.
Because I was doing the wage books. I used to do all the wage book by hand that time.
Okay.
big
Yeah.
tick book.
I've seen some of the.
That was.
books, yeah.
I tried hard when Madison closed to keep a selection of all the big ledgers, and I was told I was mad, but I wasn't really.
Yeah.
But they were all dumped.
There's 2 of them upstairs.
Is that?
Belong to one is Larry Duggan's, and the other one I think is John Tierney's. Yeah.
John James. But I'll talk to Mickey O'Mara first for you.
Yeah. I
And
have to ring him, so I'll hang on.
Yeah, well, no, I'll try and do that tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I knew I was
Yeah.
watching. No, I'm all right. The racing is late today again.
Okay. Well, look, we leave it there.
No,
Ronnie.
I watch Punchestown.
Very good.
Yeah,
The racing. Oh shit, the racing's on. Totally forgot about that.
No, I
Okay.
think it's a slight bit earlier today.
Is it?
They started late, you see, the first 2 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, they'd tried that about 6 years ago and it has worked. The idea was to get the people out of Dublin offices to come out. And it has worked.
Yeah, good.
They were
I'll
down
pause this again.
366 the first day in the row.